What is up, people? So today we're going to go over 5 studio hacks, and these are not studio hacks that are going to cost a ton of money. All of these are fairly inexpensive, and they're just ways that in your studio, in your workspace, or even in just like your office, you can clear up clutter, improve your workflow, and just improve your studio workspace. Tip number 1 is a cell phone holder for your desk. Now, a cell phone holder does 2 things. One, it gets your phone up off the desk and it gets it out of the way. You're not constantly moving it around and putting stuff down on your desk and then moving it to another place so you can put something. It gets it up off the desk, and then it also puts it, when it's in the holder, it's harder for you to get distracted by your phone and say like, oh, let me check Instagram, because it's like in the holder. It's kind of a pain to get to. So it's sitting there in the holder. It's there so that if someone texts you or whatever, you can check it to see if you need to get it now or you can get it later. It's up, off, out of your way, and it also is in there keeping you from getting distracted. So this is what mine looks like. That's it right there. It just holds it, and I used a selfie stick. It doesn't have to be a super fancy stand and all that stuff. I used a cymbal clamp and a selfie stick, and I have a cell phone holder. Studio hack number 2 is have a bunch of different audio monitors. So I have 3 sets of audio monitors in my studio, and it really helps me get a mix dialed in. No, I'm not mixing Grammys and stuff, but I have a nice set of JBL 8-inch speakers that are great, and they're my main monitors. And then I have a really crappy set of computer speakers that are really mid-heavy and have a really terrible sub. And that just exposes a bunch of weird stuff in my mix that sometimes it sounds great on my controlled studio monitors, but on, really mid-rangey speakers, some stuff that I mix sounds really untamed, and mixing on those speakers helps me tame some of that. And then I have a really tiny little mono speaker that helps me really dial mixes in for iPhones. So have different audio monitors in your studio. That's tip number 2. Studio hack number 3 is all about sound isolation and sound canceling. So everybody that plays drums especially, if you have a studio, you're playing stuff loud, you're in a house, you don't want to disturb the neighbors. So there's a lot of ways that you can kind of isolate and soundproof your room, but real soundproofing is very hard. So a quick little hack is you can take whatever window you have is probably a huge source of sound, noise, bleed. So if you take really accurate measurements of your window, really accurate measurements of your window. We're talking, because windows, you think they're square, you think the corners are square, but they're not. Oftentimes, one side will be just a tiny bit longer than the other. So take a very accurate measurement of your window. What you can do is take it to a glass shop, have them cut you. I have an inch thick a piece of acrylic glass in my window, and I built a really cheap with PVC strips frame around it. So I basically have my window, and then I have an air gap of an inch, and then I have another piece of glass, and that cuts out on a lot of the noise pollution that was leaving my studio directly through the window. So that's studio hack number 3, is building kind of like a window in front of your windows. Alright, so studio hack number 4 is getting some inexpensive LED lights and just kind of spicing up your room. So on the desk that I sit at for most of the day behind my computer, I just got some cheap LED lights and lined them along the back and the underside of the desk. And it really does a lot to enhance that space. It lights up my keyboard so I can see it a little bit better. It just adds a nice little vibe. And some people are not into vibe. I'm not really aesthetically into that much vibe, but having, the right lights. I also have lamps all around the studio. You can see these lamps all behind me. It's better than just having this, that stupid fan light is just so kind of overbearing and not that cool. So having lamps, mood lighting, cheap LED strips can really go a long way in not only giving you light where you might need it just a little bit extra, but also adding a lot of vibe. Alright, and studio tip number 5 is the most practical and the easiest and by far the cheapest. You can literally, in my space I have a closet that has a lot of stuff. Let me take you to the closet. So the closet has all kinds of, it's got snare drums, it's got extra paper and printer cartridges, it's got other drums, it's got these drums down here, it's got some drum heads back there, it's got all this stuff. Closet is important. However, the door for the closet was really lame and in the way. as you can see, I'll set a drum set up here. And when I'm running in and out and I'm getting snare drums and stuff, I don't want a door in the way. And the door opened to like right over there. So the door took up a lot of space, and I just took it off its hinges and put it in the attic. And now I don't have a door, and the room is much more open, much more free. And it also just like looks a lot better. It looks a lot cleaner. There's just nothing to distract your eye when you're here in the studio. It kind of just feels a little more like a thing. It doesn't feel like a room that has a closet or whatever. So tip number 5 for your studio is, if you have closet doors, if you have anything that's kind of taking up space and it's getting in your way, just remove it, So doors take up a huge amount of space, and they're kind of a vibe killer if you're running in and out all the time. So just get rid of your door. That's studio tip number 5. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just 5 quick tips. They're just really practical, I think. They're all tips that I have obviously done myself and have made my life just a little bit easier, a little bit better. And again, they don't just work for studios, they work for offices, whatever. So, if you like the video, go ahead and hit subscribe, ding that notification bell. I'm coming out with videos like every week. And put in the comments, what's a studio hack that you've used that's improved your workflow, or given your room more vibe, or it's made the sounds you get out of your studio better. Like, what's a hack that you can put in the comments? Put that below, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.